Hey, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, or anything else you may identify as. I was going to go live tonight. It didn't happen. Ran into some technical difficulties. I'm going to have to re-examine some things and make that possible. But I have a habit of having these thoughts in my head and these opinions, and then I get distracted, busy, life grabs a hold of me, and then I forget. Then later down the road, I should have posted that. So I'm just going to throw some opinions out there. Hopefully you guys will leave some comments and let me know whether you agree or don't agree. If you disagree, tell me what your thoughts are that differ from my own. I'm going to start off with a hot take. It might turn some people off, but I'm going to beg you to hang with me for a minute and listen and hear the whole thing out. Renee Nicole Good is no longer with us. She passed away today on Portland Road in Minneapolis. I don't think she should be dead. I think she should be somewhere right now ruining her decisions, thinking how stupid her actions were today and how she shouldn't do that again. But she shouldn't be dead. Oddly enough, I'm watching CNN. The Art of War says know your enemy. I like to see what the other side is thinking, how they're viewing it, and I like to exercise critical thinking myself. So I watch everything. I watch all the YouTube videos I can find on people's opinions. I watch every news channel from Fox, Newsmax, CNN, even MSNBC. If somebody from the left shows you, it's going to come from a left bias. If somebody from the right shows you, it's going to come from a right bias. The truth is going to lie somewhere in the middle of that. And we need to find that truth. And it's not going to be overnight. I think there should be a full and complete investigation by a non-involved, non-connected, non-biased entity and get to the facts, get to the bottom of it. If it was an unjustified shooting, there needs to be consequences. If it was justified, then obviously consequences have already been rendered. But we'll see. It's been maybe 12 hours. We don't know yet. Years ago, when I was in my 20s, I worked for an old man. And when I say old, this guy was in his late 70s. He could put a hammer in his hand and outwork just about anybody I've ever met. But he always, like old men do, always had something full of wisdom, little nuggets of wisdom to throw at me throughout the day during our work hours. Like one of my favorites is always, it's not what you know, but it's whether or not you know what you know. I'll let you think about that for a minute, but that's actually pretty deep. He told me, he said, young man, when you finally do, and you will, when you finally do start paying attention to the world around you, you look at politics and religion the same way you do a chicken dinner. You pick the meat off the bones and throw the bones away. I understand protesting. I understand demonstrating. Even if I don't agree with you, I feel like you have the right to do that. As long as you're peaceful, you're lawful. The word I really like is civil disobedience. Civil being the key word. Disobedience is easy. Every 2-year-old can do it. I've spent a lot of this evening before I went to work, I spent with my 2-year-old grandson. And he is thoroughly enjoying being disobedient. He's at the age now where he's going to push the limits and find out just how far he can go and how far we'll allow him to go. So he is exercising his right to be disobedient. We as adults need to, and protesters, activists, demonstrators need to exercise civil disobedience. Now, civil, again, being the key word, which means you don't torture, alter, hinder someone else's pursuit of happiness in order to effectively articulate your goal or belief. Renee Good came from out of town, so I'm told, and decided the best use of her time today was to use her vehicle to hinder federal law enforcement actions. Not a smart idea. I'm actually, as I'm taping this, am watching the video of the actions that took place on Portland Road today. I don't honestly see anything that deserves the death penalty. Foolish, incredibly. Dangerous, slightly. But I truly believe the punishment needs to be commensurate with the crime. I feel like she panicked and made some very, very, very bad choices in the heat of the moment. But I also believe so did the federal agents. I don't think their lives were truly in danger. I think there was danger. Something really bad could have possibly happened, but it didn't. I think she needs to be sitting in a jail cell right now. Not in a morgue. Now, all that being said, here's the critical thinking. She did make some bad decisions, and it caused some reactions. Is it Newton's theory, I believe, is for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. It was either Newton or Einstein. I'm neither one, so I don't know. So you can't make decisions like that and expect there's not going to be a reaction. And sometimes it's not completely equal.
That there's going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out.
Because I'm not a federal officer and I wasn't there and I didn't have to make a split thousandth of a second decision on whether I was safe or not. I didn't have to, in the heat of all the stuff that's going on around him, all the prejudice, all the threats. Apparently, I'm also hearing that some bad situations happened earlier in that day. So they were probably already on edge. You're in Minneapolis, arguably one of the worst towns in the nation to have to do your job in right now if you're an ICE agent. All these things got to factor in because that agent is human. And yes, they have training, and yes, they have, they have lessons in de-escalation, and they have protocols, and they have all this stuff, but they're still human, and they still want to go home at the end of their shift.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
And then here's another hot take. Some of my viewers aren't going to like this, but the use of hyperbole is not helping the situation at all. Trump says, oh, he's in the hospital and he's lucky to be alive. Come on, bro. He got shoved a little bit by a bumper. Watch the video. That shouldn't happen. Not saying that that's okay, but exaggerate much? Lucky to be alive. He's sitting at home chilling. Gonna enjoy his next few days off. Paid vacation.
My booze don't need nobody. Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Lucky to be alive seems a little bit hyperbolic to me. And Trump likes to do this. And with the unhinged base on the left, every time he goes off on these rants, it energizes them because they'll take every small little mistyped word and turn it into a national crisis.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
I'm not going to play armchair quarterback, Monday morning quarterback. I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly what I would do in that situation. Hindsight is 20/20, and we have the benefit of that right now. But I'm not going to pretend like I know everything and I'm so perfect that I would have robotically done exactly what was necessary and nothing more and nothing less in that situation.
RoboCop. What is he?
He's a cyborg, you idiot.
All hero. RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
And I'm going to assume in an optimistic way that agent has a conscience, and that agent is replaying that moment over and over in his head tonight, wondering if he did the right thing or not, wondering if he was actually justified or not. Once you get out of the crowd, once you get away from all your coworkers and all the news cameras and all that, and you go sit in your living room chair by yourself, maybe just you and your wife, and it's quiet and you're watching everything on TV or not. Maybe you finally got tired of it and you turn the TV off and you wonder, did I act properly? Am I justified? Did I do everything I could in that situation to prevent the loss of life? I don't know the man. I don't know what his conclusions are leading him to, but I'd be willing to put money on the fact that probably right about now, they're 3 hours behind. It's 1 o'clock here, or 3 hours ahead. So it's probably like 4 a.m. there or something like that. And he's probably still awake, replaying those moments over and over in his head. But we're all going to make our judgments. We're all going to have our opinions. We're all going to think that we know what should have happened, or we know why it did happen, and all this. We don't know. We have no idea. What I do know is that lady's child doesn't have a mom tonight. That lady's parents don't have a daughter tonight. I heard she was part of the LGBTQ LMNOP community. Her girlfriend doesn't have a partner tonight because of some bad decisions. So you know who I'm blaming for the rhetoric and the hyping, the taking advantage of weak-minded people. People like Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker in Chicago. People like Katie Wilson and Bob Ferguson in Seattle. People like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom in L.A. Keith Wilson and Tina Kotek here in Portland. All these people that are in positions of power. The people that aren't in positions of power are going to look to for advice and direction. Mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and then, of course, Tim Walz, the governor, with all of their anti-ICE this and anti-ICE that. And there, here you go. You end up with situations like this, that what happened today. The Minneapolis mayor, oh, he's tough. He cussed at Trump on national TV.
Get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Big story. Viewer discretion. Harsh language. Mayor goes on a rant. Uses vulgarity. Passionate message for Donald Trump. You're a mayor, dude. Know your role. Sit down, shut up.
That is bullshit.
No offense to mayors out there, but pretty sure you're not in the power position here against the President of the United States. Slow your roll, because you just looked and sounded ridiculous. Now, who does have a little bit of power would be Tim Pon. I had to say that. I saw that in a chat somewhere today, and it made me crack up. Tim Pon. Does anybody consider the possibility that Mr. Waltz is breathing a sigh of relief at the distraction this created today? Anybody see the timing just a little bit weird? A little bit coincidental that just 2 days ago the entire country was watching him cry and say, I'm going to drop out of politics.
Today, Governor Tim Walz held a press conference to discuss why he decided to drop out of the race for re-election.
And I just feel, along with my family, that it's the best decision for Minnesota, and I feel very confident in that. I think it's going to be clear that Minnesotans agree with that. Because you got caught in the biggest scandal America's ever seen, but yet today, because of this distraction, he thinks he has the balls, for lack of another way to put it, to go on national TV and declare war against the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks.
Seriously, dude? You were running and hiding 2 days ago because you're a fraud. Because you're involved in fraud. Huge fraud.
I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge.
And instead of bowing out peacefully and accepting the fact that you're busted, you're going to blame it on Trump. Oh, it's because Trump doesn't like me.
The war that's being waged against Minnesota, you're seeing it. This is a concerted effort to try and destroy the president's opponents, to destroy the rule of law.
No, it's because you're a POS, dude. Because you're a scumbag. Because you're the epitome of swamp. Poor Nick Shirley, and because his investigative efforts went viral after exposing all this, he's getting death threats. It's clown world. It's upside down world. Where the good guys have to be scared and the bad guys laugh. The Somali scandal's ridiculous. I don't like gross generalizations, but the numbers show that the majority of Somalis are crooked, non-assimilating, taking advantage of our good nature as a country. I'm 100% sure that there are some really great Somali people out there. I'm also 100% sure that it'd be like finding a needle in a haystack at this point.
Is finding a needle in a haystack actually impossible? If you find it in 10 minutes, you win $1,000.
Because it's their culture.
Well, you can't use a magnet, that's cheating.
Like I said, I don't like generalizations. I don't like people telling me who, what, how I am because I have Caucasian skin, or because I'm American, or because I was born here or raised here, or because of who my parents are or what my parents did. I don't like generalization and assumptions. So I try really hard not to do it to other people. But statistics bear out that it's really hard not to do that against Somali people. As the case keeps proving to be over and over and over again, we interfere in a country. We end up taking their refugees in after we made a mess over there or got involved in a mess that was already there. And then those refugees do bad things to us.
The 29-year-old Ramanala Lockenwall could face additional charges in the shooting of those two West Virginia National Guard members the day before Thanksgiving. Lockenwall had become unstable recently, and community members had reached out to refugee organizations for help. Lockenwall worked for the CIA in Afghanistan, entered the U.S. in 2021 through the Operation Allies Welcome program, and was granted asylum this year by the Trump administration.
A refugee from a country that we interfered in. We let all these refugees in from places like Venezuela, and then we get Trinidad de Agua. Probably saying that wrong, sorry, my Spanish sucks. But you guys know what I'm talking about, the Venezuelan gang. What's gonna happen now? We just yanked Maduro out of there, and it's gonna plunge that country into chaos. I don't like Maduro. I think Maduro should have been gone a long time ago. Whether we did it, or they did it, or somebody else did it. But he was propped up by Iran and Russia and China, so he was there a lot longer than he should have been. But now that we removed him, are we going to have another Pakistan, another Iraq, where they're just going to have civil wars, civil unrest? Maybe not, because not to get down this rabbit hole, but apparently the lady that supposedly won the fair election, she's a go rah for America and Israel. So something tells me she's going to be in there pretty darn quick, because you know we like those people. Anybody who's pro-Israel is okay in our book, right?
I said, hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Anyway, what's going to happen now? All these anti-ICE protesters have been running around claiming that ICE is killing people. LA had a co-worker suggest it this evening. Oh, I know, I saw this and that and this and that. I had not heard of the story he was referring to, but I respect his co-worker, so I'm gonna dig more into it and find out what he's talking about. But as far as I knew, they weren't. But I do understand shit happens. There are mistakes, there are things that go wrong. You've got thousands of agents picking up thousands of people in hundreds of cities. Some stuff's gonna happen. Just the same as police. Sometimes there's bad cops or even good cops that do bad things sometimes. Shit happens. But as a rule, ICE is not running around killing people. But now we have a high-profile case of them killing somebody in the middle of a road. And because it's 2026, there's 1 million cameras on it. So now they're emboldened. The activists left. Now they think that they're proven correct. And they have even more reason to be angry and emotional. I was watching some restreams of people that were down in Portland this afternoon. Even watching from the safety of my home or my office, I could feel the difference. I could feel the difference in the air. I could feel the atmospheric change. Because they're emboldened now. And they feel like they have more righteous indignation. We're entitled to it. Because look what ICE did. And some right-wingers went down there and trolled them. And they were angrier and more violent than we've seen them in quite some time. And this happened in Minneapolis. Everybody, if you don't already know the history of activism and violence and riot activity in the city of Minneapolis, you really need to catch up on your news. And go look it up and then finish watching this video. Minneapolis is arguably worse than Portland. But that's where it happened, in my estimation, to the benefit of Tim Walz. Because we all know how the politicians love their distractions. What are we getting distracted from lately? That there had to be military action against a foreign country on Christmas Day. That question keeps rolling over in my head. What am I supposed to not be paying attention to? Because that's how politics work. That's how the media works. I'm reserving judgment on Venezuela. I'm reserving judgment on Renee Nicole Good. Trying to stay in the middle, trying to keep an open mind, trying to use critical thinking skills, deductive reasoning, so on and so forth. But what I'm more paying attention to at the moment is what's going on behind the curtain that we're not supposed to see. While we're paying attention to Venezuela, while we're paying attention to Portland Street in Minneapolis, while we're paying attention to Candace versus Tim Pool, and now it's even Alex Jones versus Candace. What are we not supposed to be looking at? That's my question for the day. Hope you got something out of this video. If you did, hit the like button, throw me a comment, even if you did or didn't. I appreciate you watching. Tune in for the next one. Peace. And Patriot on.